Welcome to Gaia's Calling, where stories ignite your spirit and the earth whispers her secrets. I'm Brad Swift, a write-on-purpose author of eco-fiction and nonfiction, inviting you to become an eco-guardian. Together, let's explore the wonders of our world and take action to protect them. Listen closely. Gaia is calling. And today's Gaia call is with a somewhat hoarse speaker here, so please bear with me as I'm getting over the last remnants of a pretty nasty cold. So today's topic is Interlude of Inspiration, one of my favorite topics, the evolution of truth. The past, the future, and the living truth that connects them. So, let's dig in. The four great truths, well, they didn't arrive all at once. They weren't handed down from on high, fully formed and immutable. They have emerged gradually, organically, like the first shoots of a seedling breaking through the soil. At first, we thought of them as just counterpoints to the Great Untruths, as simple corrections to the damaging narratives that had guided civilization for so long. But, as we wrote, reflected, and explored through this One Cause series, something deeper began to reveal itself. These truths are not just an intellectual framework. They are part of a greater unfolding. They are alive. They are evolving. And so are we. You see, truth is alive. It's not static. And a really great book that I've recently read, A Post-Truth World, Politics, Polarization, and a Vision for Transcending the Chaos, Ken Wilber explores how humanity's consciousness evolves over time. He shows how old paradigms, once useful, eventually become rigid and limiting, giving way to new, broader perspectives that integrate what came before. Our world is in the midst of such a transformation right now. We see the symptoms of this shift everywhere. The breakdown of institutions, the deepening of political and ideological divides, the crumbling of old certainties. It feels chaotic, disorienting, doesn't it? Well, that's because it is. The old paradigm is dissolving. A new one has yet to fully emerge. Wilber calls for an integral approach, one that weaves together wisdom from past eras while transcending their limitations. He makes the point that instead of swinging between extremes, like modernism versus postmodernism, progress versus tradition, science versus spirituality, it would be better if we would evolve beyond polarization and into a more expansive, inclusive way of being. This is exactly what we've been discovering as the four great truths continue to take shape. And in the midst of that, we've discovered a paradox of the great truths. You see, at first glance, the four great truths might seem new, something emerging from the first time in history, and yet, they are also deeply consistent with the ancient wisdom of indigenous cultures, spiritual traditions, and nature-based ways of living. This is the paradox. While the great truths feel like they are emerging, they are also a return to something we once knew. The wisdom of interconnection, sufficiency, reciprocity, and stewardship has been present in indigenous traditions for millennia. Yet modern civilization largely abandoned these truths in pursuit of control, extraction, and domination. Sounds familiar, like the Great Untruths? Now, as the consequences of this old worldview came crashing down around us, we find ourselves rediscovering what was never truly lost. We are living the evolution of the great truths. At first, the great truths seem like simple counterpoints to Great Untruths, just a better way to think about our relationship with the world. But as we have gone deeper, we began to see that they weren't just ideas, they were invitations to transformation. They were pointing towards something more profound than just a new way of thinking. They were showing us a new way of being. And this is how creation works. Whether it's the evolution of life, the expansion of human consciousness, or the birth of a movement, things rarely arrive fully formed. They emerge, they change, they adapt. And sometimes evolution happens faster than we think possible. History is full of moments where the status quo persisted for centuries until suddenly everything changed. The Renaissance, the Industrial Revolution, the fall of apartheid, the rapid acceptance of LGBTQ+ rights in parts of the world. Transformation isn't always slow. Sometimes it accelerates. And right now, at this moment in history, we are being called to evolve fast. Humanity is being asked to move from an old way of being, rooted in separation and domination, into a new way of being, grounded in interconnection and stewardship. This is what the 4 Great Truths are really about. So how truth evolves? Wilbur teaches that new paradigms don't simply erase the old ones. They include them, integrating their wisdom while letting go of what no longer serves. This is how we must approach the shift from the Great Untruths to the Great Truth. The old worldview, the one rooted in the 4 Great Untruths, it wasn't all bad. It gave us certain advancements, structures, and insights. But it also led to some deep imbalances. Now we must transcend it, keeping what is wise while discarding what is destructive. Consider these examples. The rise of scientific rationalism helped humanity escape superstition and make incredible discoveries. But when taken to an extreme, it led to disconnection from the sacredness of life and the mechanization of the natural world. Or capitalism, at its best, has encouraged innovation, lifted many people out of poverty, and rewarded creativity. But in its unchecked form, it has also exploited people and ecosystems in pursuit of endless growth. The task before us is not to reject everything that came before, but to integrate its wisdom while discarding what no longer serves. Personal transformations, my own shifts in worldview. As I reflect on this evolution, I realize I've had my own moments where everything I believe shifted. 2 particular experiences stand out. One was back in 1988 with Landmark Worldwide. This was a moment that shook my world in a very possible best way. It gave me the courage to sell my veterinary practice and step fully into my calling as a writer, author, and coach. It revealed how much of my life had been driven by unconscious beliefs, and it opened up the possibility of consciously choosing who I wanted to be. And my second example was my journey a few years ago to the Amazon rainforest in Ecuador. Standing in the heart of the rainforest, I experienced something I had only intellectually understood before, that I am not separate from life. I am part of this great web, and it is alive. This was not just an idea. It was a felt experience that continues to shape me. So really, this is a living experiment. None of this is set in stone. Just as truth evolves, so does one cause. This project is not about dictating answers, but about discovering them together. It is an invitation into a greater experiment. What happens when we stop fighting against life and instead learn to move in harmony with it? So I'm offering you a bold invitation. If this resonates with you, please don't let the conversation end here. Let's make this a living dialogue. Like this post if something here sparked a thought or feeling in you. And share it if you believe others need to hear this message. And there's a button right there to share it with. And most importantly, hey, comment, will you? Tell me what this brings up for you. Let's start a conversation about the world we are building together. Too often, we read something that moves us and simply move on. Let's break that pattern. This isn't just about absorbing ideas. It's about engaging with them. So I ask you, what in this post speaks to you? Where do you see this shift happening in your own life? How do you want to participate in this evolution? Drop your thoughts below. I would truly love to hear them. Let's build this future together.